So I want to also share with you a couple of numbers that I think are really relevant to side hustles. First of all, on the income side, how much money can side hustles bring in? There's something I want to call the modal amount of income. So when people are surveyed on how much money they're bringing in from the side hustle, this is the most frequently reported number. It's $200 a month. And this resonates with me because my wife actually side hustles. She's a teacher, but she tutors for 1 hour a week after school, and she gets paid $50 a week. $50 times 4 weeks is $200. So this one was bang on for me. So someone who has a kind of a very limited side hustle can bring in about 200 bucks a month. Now, the other one is an average monthly income. So if you think about the people who are really embracing side hustles, it's probably not just an hour a week. It might be all a Saturday. It might be a couple hours every day. But the average amount of side hustle income reported is $580 a month, which I actually think was more than I was expecting. Now, having that additional income does something that I call multiplying the discretionary. And what I mean by discretionary income is for most of us, that's the only part of our income that really matters. When you give a kid $20 for allowance, how much of that can they spend? 20 bucks, right? They don't have bills. They don't have a mortgage to pay. All that money you gave them was discretionary money. And so we're kind of like that. In fact, most of our money is spoken for. I think in most cases, it goes to your bills, your mortgage, your car payment. And so Bureau of Labor Statistics here did a survey and they saw that $74,664 was the average household income. And they looked at all of the spending that average household does. And they calculated roughly that $258 per paycheck was the discretionary amount. Now, this doesn't include things like debt payments or loans and some of those other things and some like luxury items like gourmet coffee or whatever it might be. So I think this might even be a little high, but think about this. For the household that makes around $75,000, about $250 per paycheck is really all they have to spend in what I call freedom money, kind of their play money. Now, if you have a side hustle, and let's say you just bring in the modal amount of income, $200 a month, that's equivalent to about $92 per paycheck every other week. That's a 35% increase in the amount of discretionary money, the amount of free money that you actually have. And if you have an average side hustle, which would be $268 per paycheck, that's more than doubling the amount of freedom money that you have. Small side hustle can really make a big difference in the amount of money that you have to really play with. Now, let me put it another way. You go to work, you have your regular day job, and you bust your hump and you're working all month anyway for that discretionary income, for that freedom money above and beyond all of your needs. If you were to increase that just a little bit, like 10%, you could double potentially your freedom money, that discretionary income. So what I'm saying here is that if you raise the amount of output that you produce just by a little bit, the amount of actual free cash that you have can double, triple. It's really limitless. So we'll talk a little bit more about that.